Well, hello, Richmond County residents. It's Celeste Gotel coming to you from the Senior Center Without Walls for Richmond County with a brand new episode of Age-Friendly Community Conversations. And I'm really excited to have Rachel LeBlanc with us today. She's the Senior Safety and Social Inclusion Coordinator at the Dr. Kingston Community Health Center in Lordways. I know that's a big handle. And welcome, Rachel. Really happy to have you join us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we'll get back to Rachel in a minute, but I just want to take a couple of minutes just to share with folks a little bit about what an age-friendly community is all about in case you're airing into this episode for the first time. This is a brand new series that we've launched in partnership with Tallil Community Television, and this is actually the fifth episode. There are several others, and they can all be found on their YouTube television channel, but also they're airing them live on Tallil. But one of the reasons we wanted to do this program is we've been promoting age-friendly communities for about 10 years now with Seniors Take Action Coalition, but a lot of people still don't even know what it is. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a Reader's Digest story around age-friendly communities. Although the World Health Organization coined this phrase specifically as a result of older adults, as a result of the aging population across the world, and doing things in communities that would support older adults to age well in place, it really impacts all ages. So whatever we do in an age-friendly community that supports older adults also has added benefits to all age groups. So I think it's really important that people kind of recognize that it's not just about older adults. The other thing is when we have an age-friendly community, you're going to see a lot of things. And one of the things that you may see is accessible outdoor spaces and buildings, for example, where they're safe and they're pleasant, et cetera. You may also see housing that's affordable, housing that's safe, that's well designed to meet particular needs, whether it's older adults or people with disabilities. You're also going to see a safe environment where roads and walkways are well lit, for example, that there's sidewalks, all those kinds of things to encourage people to participate. Transportation will be available to folks in an age-friendly community, whether it's community transportation or other types of transportation that help get people from point A to point B. Some of the other components of an age-friendly community is providing opportunities for older adults and others as well to socially participate in activities, to become engaged, whether it's through employment or volunteering, so that they have opportunities to feel like they're belong to the community and they have something to contribute. And the last two important things about an age-friendly community is that people have access to community support and health services so that they don't have to travel distances to access those, that they're readily available in the community. And last but not least, that people know how to access information, which is precisely why we're doing this video, this television series. It's a way of us getting information out to folks in the community. So one of the reasons I wanted to invite Rachel to join us is Rachel's job kind of covers all of these components of an age-friendly community, but specifically, I wanted to talk to her more about this whole idea of social inclusion and social isolation, because this is something that we're hearing a lot about, and it's a big part of her job. In fact, some of the statistics that are related to social isolation have a really strong health risks associated with them. And people would be really surprised to know that the World Health Organization has recently named loneliness as a global health priority. And they're really urging countries to take action because chronic isolation, in fact, is more harmful to a person than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And I know that might shock some people, but social isolation also puts people at higher risk of falls, higher risk of developing dementia, which is a lot of the work that Rachel has been involved in lately. It put people at risk of heart attack, risk of stroke, developing diabetes, among a whole bunch of other health things. So making sure that people are really engaged is very important. And lastly, before I get into chatting with Rachel, I wanted to mention that June was Men's Health Month. And we featured men's health in our recent edition of Better with Age. And it may also surprise people to know that 1 in 2 men are at risk of social isolation, and men that are living alone, which really affects older population, are at higher risk at 73%. So this is alarming, and this is precisely why programs like Rachel are so important in our community. So with that being said, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to get Rachel to start doing some talking. So I thought Rachel is the Senior Safety and Social Inclusion Coordinator at the Dr. Kingston Center, as I mentioned. And I believe she joined them in around the fall of 2023. Is that correct, Rachel?
Yeah, late November 2023.
Yeah, I thought that my memory served me correctly. That's what about the time when it happened. So it's going on almost 2 years now that you've been in your role. That's pretty exciting. I bet you the time has really gone by quickly.
It has, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you could start off, Rachel, by telling us a little bit about what is the day in the life of your job look like? What does the social senior safety coordinator and social inclusion coordinator do?
Sure. A lot of the things that I would do in the run of a day, navigating various available supports, such things as in-home support, which would be like private caregivers list and home care and stuff like that. Um, Connecting the services, housing support, heating rebates, food insecurity, transportation, isolation, government and community programs, home warming programs, and just general information.
Mhm.
Um, Something else that we do quite a bit of is information sessions, especially this year. We had falls prevention, identity theft and fraud prevention, emergency preparedness, estate planning, victim services, and various topics on mental health with Julia Goldsworthy, and she works at the Kingston. She's a registered counseling therapist. So we had a lot
Mhm.
of wonderful sessions with her.
Yeah.
I personally look forward to them myself. I think they're great. And we also had various dementia conversations with
Yeah.
several communities now. So that
Yeah,
seems to
maybe
be
we'll get a
growing.
little bit more into that specifically. So I know that you are, like, as you mentioned, you're involved with a lot of different initiatives as part of your role. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the one-on-one support. Like, I think when you mentioned initially, you do a lot of that navigation, connecting people with different resources. What kinds of issues kind of come across your desk? Like, why are people reaching out? Like, what are some of the issues that are impacting older adults in Richmond County?
A lot of the things we see are food insecurity, of course. Transportation is a big one. The housing grants, I see a lot of those. Um, yeah.
So when you say food insecurity, tell me a little bit more about that. What do you mean by that? That's a term that we use a lot. And what exactly is food insecurity?
Food insecurity is just basically um, not having to choose between buying food and paying bills
Hmm.
and affording to live. The affordability, like the poverty rate is very high, and we have
Hmm.
the a notable high in all of Canada in Nova Scotia. So
Hmm. And so you're finding that older adults are really kind of struggling with the affordability and the cost of groceries and are needing support
yeah,
more and
and
more.
having
Yeah,
to stretch things out, and
yeah,
that's scary.
it is. Yeah. Because I'm sure there's never been, for a lot of them, there's a lot of pride involved there as well in terms of not feeling like they want to reach out. And I've heard older adults say, there's people that need it more than me, like young families and stuff like that. So they're
Sure.
reluctant to actually seek help. But if they're picking up the phone and calling you, obviously they're in very desperate situation. And yeah, that's a really important thing. And you mentioned also transportation. So how are you able to kind of support people with that particular issue if that comes across your desk?
Well, we do have a small contingency fund that we're able to support. There are certain programs through the EHS for non-medical transport. But also for some of our programming, we actually work that into this most recent grant. So we're able to provide a little bit of transportation for folks that need it who would like to attend our programs. So,
Oh, great. Okay.
yeah.
So that's excellent. Okay, so I know that you've been doing a lot of work in the community around organizing sessions around dementia education. And you also do a monthly memory cafe. It's called Cafe Remnants, which is pretty fancy, I'd say. But tell me what happens at a Cafe Remnants.
Cafe Reminisce or Memory Cafe. They're for anyone with memory challenges and other cognitive impairments and their caregivers. It gives people a sense of belonging, purpose, and community. The concept of a memory cafe is to create a safe, welcoming, and social environment where folks can relax, share experiences, and enjoy activities without stigma. There's always snacks, crafts, music, and they're free. And we were actually fortunate to have Krista Luddington play at one of our cafes. So we would like things like that to happen more, because that was thoroughly enjoyed by everyone.
I bet it was, yeah.
Yeah, we have one coming up, or we just had one, and it was at River Roots, and we did some planting, and we had a tour of one of the gardens. And in July, we'll be at River Roots again.
Okay.
And that's July 7th at 1
July
p.m.
7th, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Now River Roots is in Richmond, in River Bourgeois. For
Right.
those people that are not familiar with it, it's a wonderful program that's offered there where you can participate in lunch programs. They have workshops related to gardening, etc. They have lots of great things, including a beautiful market that you can go weekly and buy fresh produce as well. So that's great. Now, if some other community, like a seniors club, for example, wanted to maybe had an interest in doing a memory cafe in their community, is that something that you might be able to support them with?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love to see more of them throughout the county, because we're the only one in Richmond County. And Richmond
Yeah.
County is pretty vast, as you know.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something that, we can start working with some seniors clubs so that we have a couple of others that are available throughout the county. Because when you mentioned Krista, I immediately thought of some musicians in Almadam that regularly go to the St. Anne Center, and I'm sure once a month they wouldn't mind going to a memory cafe as well. You know what I mean? They do that as a
Yeah.
volunteer. So that sounds like a great opportunity. So I know on Tuesday, you also mentioned that you do some education sessions, that you organize some in the community, but you also host some right at the Dr. Kingston Center. And I know next week you've got one coming up on elder abuse on June 30th. And
Yeah.
that's with Sheila Shulin, and she's a gerontologist from Sydney area. Can you tell us more about that particular session?
Yeah, we'll basically be getting into all of the stuff. We'll be talking about financial, physical, sexual, and mental abuse, the risk factors, the warning signs, and what to do if you suspect someone is being abused, and prevention and ways to get support. So I think it'll be a very good session.
That's great, and that's timely given June 15th was World Elder Abuse Day, which is obviously why you planned it in June, no doubt.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And there's
That's
still
great.
some seats available for anyone listening who might be interested.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah.
so they would call you, Rachel, if they wanted to get involved with that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll make sure that we leave your, well, actually, this probably won't air till next week, so I'm not sure whether or not people will see that,
okay.
but
Sorry,
it
I
may
didn't
not air
realize.
until Yale, but maybe we'll be able to get it, edit it, and we'll then be able to at least put it on our Facebook page, and you guys can promote it on yours as well. So you offer programs throughout Richmond County, and people come to you from throughout Richmond County. You mentioned earlier you'd like to do more of the memory cafes, but I know that some of the educational sessions were other in communities as well, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And so again, if seniors clubs want to work in partnership with you, there's opportunities there for them to,
Absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely. The more we share, the better. We
that's
are.
great. That's great. So now we're going to get in specifically to talk a little bit about how your programs help connect seniors and contribute to helping to reduce social isolation, because that's kind of the focus of this particular component of an age-friendly community. So how do your programs help in that regard, Rachel?
Well, our meal programs, we've done several of them. We had Hearts to Homes, which was 20 participants for 24 weeks. We had the Helping Hands pilot, which was like kind of like a food parcel, which was 10 participants for 10 weeks. And then this one ending July the 2nd, we did for 36 weeks with 30 participants. But the meal programs actually reached from Lower River to Grand River. And in most cases, the participants looked forward to the visit from the volunteers as much as they the meals. And so that was nice. And we heard that from our feedback form. So um, we offered dine-in experiences at River Roots with the adult drop-in, the Hearts of Isle Madame, Louisdale Community Homes, and sorry, and where was I at?
Dine-in experience with
the Isle Madame Small Options. So we had 5 week sessions or 5 week spots for 10 participants each week. So it was
okay.
it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good feedback.
That's great.
Um,
So those the people that residents that lived in those facilities were able to come to River Roots and have a meal together. Is that how that worked?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So how did they get there?
We provided transportation for the folks that didn't have means to transportation.
Okay, through
So
straight area transit or?
straight area transit. Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I
Another
mentioned them is because, again, that's an important resource in the community. And as I was saying, transportation can also be a very huge factor in social isolation. So that's really great that they are
absolutely.
able to do that. Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. We also had an 8 week cooking classes at the adult drop-in. The recipes were a collaboration of input from the attendees plus affordability while keeping it simple. Each week we planned for 30 meals, and when there wasn't a full group, this was kind of a nice thing that happened, and I found this out afterwards, but people would often share a meal with a friend. So they would take the extra meal and share it with their neighbor or something.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and I just felt like that was a reflection of just pure kindness, and we need more of that in the world.
We do pay it forward, eh? That's great.
And yeah, so we do have another grant that we're working on through the Canadian Food. I can't think of the title. It's CFCC. But anyway, we plan to have, I don't know what it's going to look like exactly, but it's going to incorporate food and meaningful conversations and maybe some stories and music and
Mhm.
I don't know. There's endless possibilities. So we'll have the next 2 years to work on that.
Sounds very similar to the program that was done during the Mind, Body, and Spirit project called Around the Dinner Table, where people came together and shared stories and shared a meal together. It sounds very similar. That's
Okay.
great.
Um, oh, and we've had 8 successful memory cafes at this point. We were off to a rocky start because we didn't really have any uptake. And then at that point, I kind of realized that maybe the information was missing. And that's kind of why we were pushing the dementia talks
Right.
and making those conversations more comfortable for folks because that word is very intimidating at times
Yeah,
and
it's
you don't know where to
still
go.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's still very scary for
the people
sure.
can still live a good quality life with the
Yeah,
diagnosis, with the right supports.
absolutely.
And
That's
it's important
great.
to know that.
Yeah.
And we also have a walking group, and it leaves most times from the Kingston Memorial Thursday at 11, but we would like to try some different locations and maybe get some different people and kind of grow on that a little bit.
Sounds great.
And and I'm winded here. We've got we have a foraging for fungi workshop coming up at in July, and that's the 29th. So that's with the Isle Madame Garden Society Club, or Garden Club, and that should be a lot of fun. So there's
Oh,
still some
that's
spaces
great.
open for that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you talked about how a lot of your programs brought older adults together to help reduce social isolation. Why is social inclusion so important as we age?
Um, well, before taking on the role of a senior safety and social inclusion coordinator, I worked with adults with disabilities for almost 15 years. So inclusion, dignity, and allowing people the space to feel heard are deeply rooted in my core beliefs, and are important through all stages of life, but especially as we age. Um, Social isolation often happens gradually, and it can happen for a multitude of reasons: grief, ageism, even if it's only felt, loss of routine, like retirement. And the pandemic did not help, let's be
Yeah, you're
honest.
right there. Yeah.
So as a person ages, they may become, or they may develop mobility or cognitive limitations like
Hmm.
dementia, that makes certain environments less desirable or even inaccessible, you know? And with Nova Scotia working towards becoming an accessible province by 2030, I think that benefits everyone. And I hope it works out very well because we need that. Um, and this is also a great time to create inclusive spaces like memory cafes. And I do hope that that catches on, where people can show up without any stigma and just be a human first, you
Hmm.
know, with no barriers. And strong communities start by looking out for one another and reaching out to their neighbors. Seniors are the lifeblood. I'm going to get a little cheesy here.
That's okay.
Seniors, seniors are the lifeblood of our communities, and we need to find space for them and find innovative ways so they can live long and good quality lives.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't have said it better. And I mean, I think that's why programs that you provide and the work that's being done by Seniors Take Action Coalition to develop the Senior Center Without Walls and all the wonderful work being done by our seniors clubs are so important because we're all working together collaboratively to create a healthy community for older adults to age well in place in Richmond County. And it's important that like it doesn't belong to any one organization or any one person. We all have a role that we can play in that regard. And you're right. I mean, the reason I do this work is because I agree with you. Older adults are the foundation of our communities, and we need to support them to stay healthy and to continue to contribute. So this is great. So obviously there's a lot going on out of Rachel's office at the Dr. Kingston Center. I mean, her office may be there, but she's out and about in the community looking for new opportunities to kind of grow your program and get out there and partner and actually have some programming in other communities. So hopefully we'll be able to encourage some clubs to work with you in partnership coming forward. So if people wanted to get a hold of you, Rachel, how would they contact you?
You can contact me. My number is 902-587-2800, and I'm extension 3.
Okay. And you work full time?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So
Oh, and
go ahead.
one last thing.
Absolutely.
Um, with this grant, the Community Food Centers Canada, we will be looking for volunteers as well as participants, for these programs. that have yet to be kind of determined. And I
Okay.
hope to have some input from them, from the people that have crafty ideas, gardening, recipe sharing, and really come together in purposeful ways and just make things more accessible for folks. And we will have some transportation available as long as we can work with straight area transit. So
Excellent. Okay. So thank you, Rachel, for joining me today for the episode 5 of Age Friendly Community Conversations. And this one was focusing on what she does, but also specifically about the importance of social inclusion as we age, and how her programs help to reduce social isolation. So you know how to get a hold of Rachel. And that's all for today, folks. I'll be joining you again at a future date with another guest and another topic around how we promote age-friendly communities in Richmond County.